Hello, I'm Tony Oliver, the voice of Saba. Action, activate!
What's up? It's me, Gazbot, and this is Action Activate. And if I'm Gazbot and this is Action Activate, well, then with me, as always, is this guy.
It is I. It is the big dog here to talk about a part 2 in Mystic Force. We're
part
talking
two,
about
you're in the home stretch, man.
Light Source. And let me tell you, each episode that goes by that we review Mystic Force, I am more and more validated of the mediocrity of this season.
I liked this episode.
I did too. I liked parts of this episode better than others.
I liked this episode better than part 1.
Yes, agreed.
And when I was watching the recap of part 1, I was like, oh yeah, I like that episode better than I thought I did. But I'm like, well, no, the recap is just like, here's the highlights. And it skipped a lot of the stuff I didn't like, but it did get me psyched to watch part 2. And I overall enjoyed it. And you're saying you did too, but you also said what you said.
The thing, and we haven't talked about this at all, but the things I enjoyed are the things I complained about last episode, where I'm like, I'm really excited to see the team up of all the side characters, which was great. And the Rangers continue to just be weird. There are 3 episodes after this, and then the season is done.
Yeah. You're not wrong. I was thinking about it when I was finding the episode we were on. And what was Dark Wish? I still feel like Dark Wish was like the highlight for me. I enjoyed this episode, but like in terms of, it was a cool story and there was character development and growth. And it just seemed like after that, there shouldn't have been so much weird, like, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm a jerk. That should have been before Dark Wish.
Yeah. After Dark Wish, which was a 3-parter, there was a 1-off, a 2-parter, 1-off, 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 and then this 2-parter.
Yeah. And there've been episodes I liked since then, including this one, but a lot of the inconsistencies we talk about, I think were a lot more forgivable before that episode, that story, I should say.
Let's just start off with the highlight of this entire episode is these 2 people sharing scenes together.
Yes. And potentially becoming a couple.
We've talked about this in other seasons, some more than others, but it's really frustrating to me when scenes like this happen where I'm like, how did you guys get me to like these 2 characters that I kind of cared about up until this point and do it so seamlessly in 2 bits of episodes, yet the main protagonists of the series, the entire show, you make me go, I don't know if I actually care about these people.
Well, and there was a linear progression with both of these. Like, he started out more likable than she did, but it was sort of like, this is who they are, this is where they're going. And it doesn't always have to be perfect like that. But with Nick, it was sort of like up and down and backwards and forwards. And, it's all over the place, which arguably might be a more realistic in like humans in the real world. But that's not what we want to see in our heroes and our leaders in fiction,
Well, also, like, if he, using Nick as an example, if Nick went through that kind of progression, but everybody else kind of kept him in check and they all kept each other in check, that'd be one thing. Everybody's just super inconsistent in general and kind of like are either great or terrible together. Like, there's rarely hey guys, why don't we just think positive and do this? Like, it's always just like, hey, we all hate Lily. Yeah, I hate her too. Why is Lily here? We hate Lily. Like, stuff like that.
I think I do like this show overall. I think there's a lot of good. I think there's more good than bad, but it suffers from the way the Rangers are written specifically. They're not the best part of the show, and that makes it difficult. You know what I mean? Like, so
this season is gas station pizza to me. I'll eat it, and it's better than some other things that I would consume, but I'm not actively seeking it out again if I don't have to.
Now, gas station pizza or 7-Eleven pizza?
Similar.
I think 7-Eleven pizza, while not good, is consistent and you know what you're getting. And like I trust 7-Eleven pizza. I don't trust gas station
I
pizza.
think in my lifetime, I'm more likely to have 7-Eleven pizza more than once than I would random gas station pizza.
Right. I've had 7-Eleven pizza many times.
Yeah.
I think we talked about, what are they going to do? And I said something like, I think they're just going to like step through it. And
it was super whatever, which I'm like, cool beans.
It was weird. They're fighting, the Megazord is fighting, and one of the other villains says something like, "Oh, they're having trouble. These wizards are fighting stronger than I ever thought." And like right after that, they get knocked out of their Megazord. It's like, oh, okay.
Yeah, again, really all the Ranger stuff I kind of shrugged, and then I was like, oh, what's gonna happen here? This looks fun.
This little trio, and she's like, "Don't use your magic. I'm gonna go trick them." And she says the thing about her last name rearranged as what is it? Lily Pimbare. Well, I'm looking at the
yeah, it's not like that because it is vampire.
Okay, yeah. But I never realized that before. And it's dumb that I know this whole thing I like. It's dumb in a way that I like. And she's like, face the other way, and then they come in, they're holding like leaves over their faces and sneak through. I'm like, good. I
don't know how you feel about this. I didn't like that the henchmen talked coherently.
That was weird. I was trying to remember if we had seen that before or not in this season, and I couldn't remember.
I much prefer Ranger cronies just like saying blah, 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 and kind of like Chewbacca. You're like, well, I can understand it because I'm from the villain side.
I agree. It should have been more like, yeah. I would have preferred that, but I'll let that slide.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, the other big thing going on is Korag is actually fighting the Terrors.
In a giant Korag form, mind you.
Yeah. Well. Oh yeah, I guess because they're giant. So yeah. But it's like he's beating the one, and then they sub another one in. Again, weird rules. Like there's like 3 of them. Why don't they all attack at once? I don't know. But they eventually, spoilers, they do end up defeating him.
I will say Korag, bar none, best Ranger design in this season. Possibly, this is a hot take. Possibly the entire Disney era.
Okay, that's not. I thought you were going to say in all of Power Rangers, but even just the whole Disney era, I don't know if I could agree with that.
Ninja Storm to RPM. Who do you prefer from purely aesthetic design?
Okay, nobody from Ninja Storm. What came after Ninja Storm? Wait, no, Wild Force was first. Wild Force.
It's half, but sure, count it.
Okay. Nobody from Wild Force. I like Lunar Wolf the best, but yeah, okay. Nobody from Ninja Storm. What was after Ninja Storm?
Dino Thunder.
The Black and White Rangers were pretty cool in Dino Thunder.
But more than Korag?
Okay. Maybe not.
And SPD.
SPD. Doggy Kruger's pretty cool. Doggy Kruger has some pretty cool armor. And then after SPD, what's after SPD? Is that what we're on? Mystic Force. Oh, yeah, but you're forgetting what comes after this.
Overdrive.
Yeah, so
Operation Overdrive is my favorite season.
Whether that fallacy is true or not, there's still no better Ranger designs for that season than Korag.
What comes after Overdrive?
Jungle Fury.
Yeah.
You like those designs better than Korag?
Kinda, but I mean, I guess it's tough. Just in a vacuum, maybe not, but like it's hard to remove things. And then after that is RPM.
Yeah.
And RPM, while I love it, their designs are not necessarily the best. I think that the without really getting into the nitty-gritty, I think the only real contender is Solaris Knight, actually.
I like him way better than Solaris Knight, like by a mile.
I think they're neck and neck. I think I'd have to think about it. I think aesthetically, like I understand why you like Korag better. Like he's like cooler or like more vicious or whatever. Or there's like got the wolf.
No, he's just cooler. You said it. He's cooler.
Solaris Knight is really good too, though.
Side note, I was going to say back to the actual episode. If you go forward a little bit, I was surprised how invested and interested I was in this Toby working out subplot.
Yeah, the actor clearly can like rollerblade and is like doing his own stuff. And I love also. Go ahead.
I was gonna probably say the same thing where like he sees the Zords and he's like, "Oh, I gotta rollerblade more out of here."
Yeah, I wasn't clear if he was leaving or just pumped up because he saw it. You know what I mean? Like, was he scared? I don't know. This was the part I was talking about where she's like, "Oh, look, they're having a hard time defeating. He's having a hard time defeating them," and then he immediately defeats them with his like little black stuff that he throws.
One thing I will say, I know you're splicing Sentai with the American footage with the Udana part. I don't need to see Udana's eyes closed, unmoving 20 times this episode.
I agree with that. We
you
know
don't have to.
the little
Don't
thing.
pad time. You don't need a minute worth of screen time for her going.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong. But yeah, he knocks him out of the Megazord, and then once again, the Rangers have lost their powers, all of them. And it wasn't horrible, but there was an element of like, what are we going to do now? And like at this point, they should be over that and be like, well, we're going to soldier on and figure it out. And like, it didn't need to be this again. They tried,
like, I shrugged at it, but also I did appreciate that they acknowledged it. They're like, again.
Yes. Well, no, my problem wasn't that they lost their powers again. My problem was that, and I did like that they acknowledged it, but my problem was that they weren't like, well, it doesn't matter. We're going to fight on. Like they needed Toby to help with that. And I liked that Toby had that moment, but like they shouldn't have needed that. They've already been through this. And
also like, I know there's other seasons where either there's non-morph powers or even no powers in general. But like to your point, I hate how I don't feel like they're resourceful enough considering all the stuff they did. Like the first like third of the series is like, here's how you got to learn how to use magic. And it's like, well, if we're not Power Rangers, then like we just are incompetent and can't do anything.
I wonder, your point is well taken. And we did see them practicing magic. And there were even episodes about abusing magic and like, oh, I'm going to use this to do my work and stuff. So do they have magic, or is it like part of their morphing power in their morpher, and without that they have no magic? That's unclear.
But if that was the case, then Claire shouldn't be able to do anything.
Claire doesn't get her magic as a Power Ranger.
Then Nick should be able to because he's born into magic.
Yeah, but Nick wasn't raised in magic. But you're right.
But now he's had 30 episodes of learning magic. Like,
yeah.
Also, Phineas MVP of this episode. I was smitten by the end of that fight. All right,
I loved it. He turned. That's a cool picture right there.
Yeah.
He turned into Jackie Chan, and that's when we see Lily like, who's this guy? Yeah. And I felt the same way. I'm like, whoa, where'd he come from? And he even makes the joke where he's like, smash him on the floor. I'm like, what are you doing? He's like, yeah, I'm wiping the floor with him. Get it? And I was like, yep, okay, good. Yeah, their whole adventure is everything I wanted it to be. And I remember thinking specifically, like, for a minute, they were like, whoa, Lily, what's going on? And then both of them got on board, and all three of them supported each other, worked well together, had humor. And it's like, oh, meanwhile, the Power Rangers were like, I don't know what we're going to do. Boy, I'm lonely. You wouldn't understand. And like, it's like, oh, okay. This is the dynamic I want to see from the Power Rangers is what these guys are doing.
Yeah. It's like, again, it's that inconsistency of like, you guys have the potential for good, well thought out, child appropriate plots. Why is everything, grr, I just need another lesson of the week that I forgot from 3 weeks ago. Like,
and again, I was more forgiving of that the first half. But at some point, they should kind of gel, and you could still teach lessons, but it doesn't have to be at the expense of the Rangers being dumb or thoughtless or whatever.
Like at this point, the things of like that they should be stubborn about or like somebody should scold them about is being too headstrong of being heroes. Like, no, you can't sacrifice yourself. We need you, Nick. Like, no, I'm the leader and I need to do stuff. Not, oh, I guess we should all go back to the record store because we lost our powers.
Driven my motorcycle through town, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. I do like that the record store was closed. Toby wasn't there. Nobody's working. It was closed. I liked that.
Yeah, that was a good little point.
He sees his tadpoles getting burned up, so he goes to help them. I also like that Claire made them invisible. And I'm like, what? If you use magic, you're going to be detected. And then Lily's immediately like, we're going to be detected. That was great consistency there. A little inconsistent that Claire is suddenly proficient at magic, but that's what she should be. It's just like, why now?
Whoever wrote this part, it feels very disjointed. It feels like two different teams wrote this episode. There's this team that I'm like, keep on keeping on. And then there's the other team where I'm like, I don't know where you've been. This show is almost over. It's not the start of a season. But
meanwhile, Solaris Knight is burning up all the tadpoles, and Genji's like, we're running out of energy. We can't stop now. And he's like, we've got to keep going. And I love this guy shows up. And he's like, oh yeah, here's a blast. And it's like, and it's like perfectly explained. He was just burning energy, and now he can't. That was a great. Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, because again, these two characters fairly consistent.
Yeah,
like there's the 5 Rangers and then everyone else.
Well, Udana did go a little off the rails.
Jumping around a little bit in mild spoiler territory. I hate how these 2 episodes, Udana has been the damsel in distress the entire time, and then at the end of the episode, she's like, "Oh, I'm going to find him." It's like,
well, at least now she has her staff and her powers back, and she can ranger up. Like, I think that's okay. I think now is the appropriate time to say I'm going to find him.
Yeah, no, we're gonna find him. You did not do that well. You went on your own with Claire, who tagged along and forced herself on the adventure and got captured. You, as a unit, need to go use the power of friendship to get Korag back.
Yeah, but I get what you're saying. It wouldn't bother me if she didn't just go on this other silly adventure trying to do it without powers. The fact she has powers now, if she went off on her own, it's more what you were saying. We're like, I got to go do the heroic thing by myself. And like, no, wait for us. Like it does. Her having powers and trying to do it doesn't bother me. Oh, and this is the scene.
I was going to say, I'm mesmerized by the clips of this scene because, again, great fight, great character development for everyone involved.
Yes.
And, because Lily gave the staff, right? She's like, oh, yeah, I stole this.
I stole this. Yeah. I was like, good.
It was like,
fine.
Perfect. You know what actually would have been cool, but I don't know if they could have done it with the footage. I would have been really stoked if somehow they finagled it where Claire was the White Ranger, either from now on or like for this episode.
That would be cool. Yeah. That I was trying to think if like from toys I've seen or since I've seen, like, is there another Ranger somewhere that she could be? But I guess the point is she doesn't need to be. I mean, that's kind of the point, is that the 3 of them they're not Rangers and they're still doing their thing. I
am a big fan when like people like, and they do it a couple times in the Disney season where it's like, there's somebody who helps the team the whole time. And then right toward the end, it's like, guess what? They're getting Ranger powers, baby. Let's go.
It's like Rudy. You have to play in the last game. Get out there.
This is more beneficial than Rudy, I will say.
Okay, fair. Okay.
But good analogy. Like, to me, I like, again, going into the development of each character, that these characters proved themselves when they knew they had no powers. They just had to be resourceful. They just had to go off their wit. And then they're given the powers. It's like, oh, if you were good before, you're going to be even better now, because these jabronis had magic. And the second they lost it, they started sitting around and saying the world's over. Like,
it's true. When Toby comes in here, the physicality of his performance here is amazing. He like so slides in on hand roller skates. He's jumping around. He's talking about how, like, and I'm thinking, like, how many takes of this did he do? Because that must have been exhausting, but it was really good. And this is a case where they're like, hey, we're going to come clean. We're the Power Rangers. And he's like, you already did that to me once before. And I don't believe you this time either. Turn into him. Like, well, we can't. Well, isn't that convenient? It was a good scene. I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
But I like that he sort of was like, well, if you were the Power Rangers, you wouldn't be sitting here moping. You'd go do something. You'd use your agility. And again, they shouldn't have needed to be told that, but it was a good Toby scene. He was comedic, but also gave them good advice.
Yeah, every character in this episode had their time to shine, and it made me like all of them more, and it made me really go, man, you guys are just not cutting it. If every character who has been like a goofy slapstick person is like, I have wisdom that I'm going to impart on you while I do something really cool in a scene, it's like, I don't
even
know.
Udana, who, well, she wasn't terrible. She just had this one terrible story, but even she gets to come in and be like, by the way, I kick butt.
Yeah. Everything other than the 5 Rangers was great in this episode is all I'm relearning.
Yeah. Oh, there's this part. Okay, so they all come in and they use their agility and basically just avoid blasts for a while. Mm-hmm. And then it's and there's a lot of good matching of the stunt actors to the actors. Like they kept having like this scene right here where like clearly the actors didn't do everything themselves, but they matched it really well where it looked good.
Yeah.
Then they're like, what are we gonna do now? Nick's like, I'm gonna get our powers back. Fair. I had to rewind this because it was so like, what just happened with physics here? And I'm not talking about the normal wire work. I'm gonna risk playing it without sound. Watch what we see here. He's going to try to get the scepter out of his hand, right? He jumps, he kind of kicks up, and then what? Did he hit it with his other foot? It goes flying. Now he's somehow in the air again, sideways. What is happening? What just happened?
Nothing coherent happened there.
Like, it made the kick made no sense. And then, like, why didn't another Ranger get it? Like, it flies from his kick to him. It makes no sense.
He went from falling backwards while moving forward to falling sideways backward. Like, everything
and the
about
kick
it was
also,
weird.
it was sort of like, here's what he's trying to kick, and he went like this, and then it, like, what? And he hit it with the other foot, I guess. Like, it all just made no sense. It was, I laughed out loud and then backed it up and played it again.
I missed it because I probably was just like, whatever, just morph already.
Well, and then they morph. And then she comes in with the ice to stop all the frogs that were about to fall. So she gets her little one. And then Toby sees, oh my gosh, they really are the Power Rangers. Wow, what a thing. Because he sees a morph. Yeah, that's that right there. That might be, that's a cool scene. That's a cool scene. And they didn't
What I will say is like that. Every season is different in terms of the severity of their identities being found out. This one, very much, I don't think it matters at all. And I don't know why they're secretive about it.
And they were going to tell him anyway. Like, why didn't you tell him a long time ago? Like, you know when they should have told him? Again, going back to Dark Wish. When they went to that other world, and even in that dark other world, he's still like, I believe, and I'm still a good guy. Like, he showed who he was. You can trust him a long time ago. Like,
again, shrug, big shrug.
They do a big combo blast with Udana, and they defeat him. But then, meanwhile, Korag's fighting this mushroom head guy who's much tougher, smashes his shield. I'm not giving up. And this was what was weird to me. They pulled the energy. I guess he had like the Master's energy inside him or something. I'm not clear.
And that's, I'm assuming some kind of the evil magic or Master's energy made him Korag like we saw him. And that's why he reverted to that weird like proto form.
Yeah, I got that too. But what I didn't get was, again, the rules of like, even though there's three of us, only one is going to fight at a time. But then he got stabbed in the back by this guy. So like, what? Can only one person attack him at a time, or what?
I have been very consistent in my critiques of the inconsistency of these dumb Titan terror rules or whatever.
Well, luckily they don't kill him. They just make him fall down a cliff so Udana can find him later. And then they're all hugging and it's all great. And he's loving his mom now. And these two are like, oh, I kind of like you. And like that. And that was set up even before the fight where he was nice to her. And they were talking about how they both don't fit in anywhere. So they fit in with each other. Yeah. That's great. They're going to have new babies that are 1/4 of everything that they are. Yeah. He likes her elbows.
They're like, we shouldn't have been so mean to you. And it's like,
she forgives them so fast. She's so much better than that. He's like, she's with me, and she helped us. And we're like, all right, give me a hug. And she's like, okay, but like, she should have been like, why did it take so long for you and everyone else?
Horrendous emotional trauma because her mother literally ditched her for a magic book. So that's a flaw in everybody else but her. I get it.
And so then they end with this big group hug, and Udana's like, I'm going to go find Limbo.
Yeah, okay. You're like, okay, sure.
And so now I think we have 3 episodes left, right?
Yeah, which... boy, oh boy.
I liked this episode.
Like I said, the thing I liked about it was that we got to see so many things that weren't the Rangers.
I still liked the episode.
I know, and I liked it better than the last one. I really don't like the team, and this episode solidified how much I really don't like the team.
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough. Like they're not. I know.
They're not a great team.
We've only watched a little bit of Overdrive. That's and Overdrive has a reputation for not being a well-liked season, and I think it has a reputation for like the Rangers themselves not being good Rangers, not being liked or whatever. You've seen? Well, from what you've seen, do you think these are the least likable Rangers on this team?
No. Overdrive is definitely worse. Even the few episodes that we watched together, I hate them so much more. But I haven't watched enough of Megaforce and Super Megaforce to see if I. But actually, no, I have seen enough because, like, as a whole, they're kind of whatever, like vanilla-y. But like, there are certain Rangers I like better. Whereas this one, especially earlier in the season, was like, well, I guess so and so is my favorite right now because of this thing. And then right now, like all 5 of them, if they were trapped in that little bubble and all we saw is everybody else, would be like, all right, give them their powers then. I'd rather watch these 5 be Rangers than these 5.
I still like Chip. Chip isn't used enough, but I do. He was better early on, but I always like Chip as being like the goofy optimist. He's relatively consistent. He's not.
If he left the show and they gave his powers to what's his name, the little troll, I'd be like, sure.
I would rather they keep him on the team, the new team. He's the one that I want him to be the Justin.
He's the carryover.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I guess if you don't count Solaris Knight, there would only be 4, unless Genji became a Ranger, and then you do have 5. So I don't know.
Well, I think Dagron would stay because he's consistent. He's a good, even though he's a Ranger.
No, yeah, he's fine. He's not part of that 5. Even every fight, he does his own thing and is productive, and everybody else just wallows.
It does have a very like White Ranger MMPR season 2 vibe, where like you'd think they weren't from the same show sometimes, but that's weird. Genji, I love Genji, and I would like to see Genji do more. I don't think he needs to be a Ranger. I think he could just be himself and just. But we got 3 episodes left, and I'm excited to be here in the end game. I'm really excited to see what next episode is. If it's like a wow penultimate final thing, or if it's like a dumb throwaway filler episode, 3 episodes before the end. Like either one will delight me.
If the next episode's a episode in a bottle and a clip show, I will actively be upset.
I hope it's a clip show. I can't wait.
Oh God, if it's a clip show, I'm just gonna. I continue to be the big dog, and to the power. See you guys later.
And credit.
Yeah, we haven't had a clip show yet, huh?
I don't think so.
I don't know if they did a lot of clip shows during Disney era, did they? Actually, they did an SPD. Oh, I'm nervous now.
That would be wild to do a clip show. No, there's no way this would be.
We'll have to see. I'm so nervous now.
I hope.
Oh God!
It's such a dumb. How would it be a clip show? It made no sense.
I don't know.
Hey, look, here's music. Oh, this is the best one. That's one of my old songs. I forgot.
I can tell by the lyrics.
You can tell by the lyrics.
Well, I have heard your voice now after hearing our intro for however many years.
True, yeah. Well, in our intro, I don't put the lyrics. It's just the musical version.
No.
You're
The
right.
outro, there's no
Outro.
lyrics. The intro.
Wow, I don't know what I'm doing.
I don't know either.
I need to go to bed. All right. See you next week, everybody.